Hey guys, welcome back to Back Sports, and I'm back with another video, and this is part 7 of what should they do. But before we get into today's video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out a lot, and it really helps me create content like this for you guys. So please don't forget to subscribe. And today's video, we're going to go over what the Tennessee Titans should do this offseason in order to become better in the following 2024 season. As you can see right here, the Tennessee Titans finished with a 6-11 record and ended the season with a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they have a decent amount of picks. I mean, they only have 2 picks in the first 3 rounds. But before we get into that, let's take a look quickly about what they did this past season. Obviously, you see they finished 6-11, and they had some QB arrangements that have been happening throughout the season. You see, Will Levis led the QB room with 1,800 yards, nothing too impressive, but he only played 9 games to say. He was injured for some games too, don't get me wrong, but overall he showed flashes. He showed that he is a pretty solid quarterback, has a decent arm, still very raw in terms of his talent, and he has a lot of work that needs to be done. I don't think that the Tennessee Titans need a quarterback per se. I think they still keep Levis, have 1 more year. Or even 2 more years, really, because now that you brought in Brian Callahan as your from the Bengals, who was their former offensive coordinator, as your head coach to replace Mike Vrabel, you kind of have an offensive-minded head coach that could potentially bring out the best in Will Levis. And, you know, a lot of the things that the Tennessee Titans need to do are restructuring the team as a whole and kind of probably starting from scratch again. This season proved to be that they had a lot of depreciating assets, and it just wasn't necessarily a fully coherent team, if you know what I mean. You see right here, Ryan Tannehill started the season and did not look good whatsoever. He did not look good. As you can see right here, 4 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, 32 sacks. He was just like a shell of himself. And then they put in Will Levis after Tannehill got hurt. Will Levis, his first game, threw for 4 touchdowns. And as you can see here, ever since that, the rest of the 8 games that he played, he only threw for 4 more touchdowns with 4 more picks. What does that mean? He needs weapons and he needs time to develop. So, what should the Tennessee Titans do this upcoming offseason? Well, for starters, they should look into the offensive line. The offensive line is what essentially led Will Levis to his demise throughout the season. He didn't really have that much time in the pocket. Obviously, yes, there were moments during the games where he should have thrown the ball, he should have made passes, and he should have done things, but he's a rookie, all right? He needs time to develop. And you see right here, you have DeAndre Hopkins as your number 1 wide receiver. I think he's probably going to stay with the Tennessee Titans. And, your defense is pretty manageable, pretty reasonable, to say the least. And, excuse me. So, let's look at the roster, all right? So, going into the next season, or this offseason, they have $72 million in cap space. And I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of money. And very much so that you can build and revamp your offensive line and even add some pieces on your defensive line. All right. So let's look quickly at, some pieces that could be important for that. Okay. So you can see here, key free agents. We'll get into that pretty soon. And free agent needs offensive tackle. I kind of went over that. A wide receiver to pair along with DeAndre Hopkins is pretty necessary, whether it's through the draft or through free agency. There are a plethora of opportunities that you can do. And you can even pay, for example, a Mike Evans. If Mike Evans were to consider the Tennessee Titans as a potential destination. But I feel like him with DeAndre Hopkins and a rookie wide receiver with Will Levis as your quarterback would be something to work with. And the thing is, it will help Will Levis develop, and alongside with Brian Callahan as your offensive-minded head coach. So potential cuts, Andre Dillard, Luke Gifford, nothing too crazy. It will add to a $10 million cap hit, and you can add another $10 million to that. And the thing is, you have draft picks from, as I mentioned. So as you can see, Joe Alt is a potential offense tackle to consider. Obviously, he's been pretty high on many people's draft boards, and I think that he could easily fall to the Tennessee Titans. If you have an opportunity to take him there. And then edge rusher, I feel like, me personally, I would probably go. I think you can't really go wrong with either edge rusher or wide receiver in this spot. I think that you can find some great wide receivers in the second round. So if you have an opportunity to get like a good wide receiver, I like go for it at the end of the day. But then you can probably find like an edge rusher in the 4th, 5th round, or not 4th, 5th round. Really, like it's really hard to find edge rushers that late. So maybe. Actually, no, I take it back. Take the edge rusher because it's really hard to find edge rushers in the later rounds. All right. So wide receivers in the late round, build your offensive line in the later picks, and et cetera, et cetera. And offensive line, as you can see right here, is pretty much the biggest need. They added last year Peter Skoronski, and he's been doing pretty decent from what I've heard. Let's check his statistics real quick. And Skoronski, where? Okay, I should have been more prepared for that. Yeah, so pretty much okay, let's just scratch that real quick. So just continue to build on with that rookie in Skoronski and add more or offensive line. Imagine Joe Alt with Skoronski would be pretty cool to see. And if you build that offense really well with the good offensive line, I think Will Levis will have a breakout year next season, and it only will help with his development. Now, let's get into the running back situation. And Derrick Henry, I already made a video about this. I'll probably link it at the top of the video. And yes, Derrick Henry is a free agent. He's probably done. He pretty much said in his last game that I'm probably done as a Tennessee Titan. And his replacement is going to be kind of tough to see. So maybe even consider whether it's to the draft, a later round pick in the draft, or you find yourself like a good running back in free agency. I feel like there's probably like maybe a Saquon Barkley if you're willing to pay him that decent amount of money. I don't think he's probably going to command that much money because he's still has some years in the league, so I'm not fully sure. I mean, in terms of running backs that are available, it doesn't seem that there are a bunch at all. So maybe drafting is your best hope. And yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things you can really do. Like with this amount of cap space too, and the free agents. Let's see real quick. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to really think about the free agents that are pretty much done. Maybe you have to re-sign a couple of players as well. Terrell Edmonds, probably linebacker Al Shahir, and yeah, I mean Westbrook is pretty good. I remember I saw a couple of games from him. He's been pretty decent from what I remember seeing. He's not that much of a cap hit, and he's an unrestricted free agent this upcoming season, and he only was signed to a year contract, so maybe add him. And in terms of contracts, Jeffrey Simmons is your biggest contract, $23 million. Harold Landry, Hooker, Dillard, DeAndre Hopkins is still a pretty big free agent as well. Yeah, I think that this overall will be pretty solid. Like, I feel like if you make the change for offensive line, focus on offensive line, maybe improve your D-line a bit through the later round in the draft picks, I think you're going to be set. I think this team has a long way to go. I'm not saying that they're going to make playoffs, but they'll be set. It's a pretty stacked division with the Texans on the rise, the Jaguars still in the playoff contention. The Colts are also pretty good, so I don't see them jumping up to the next level yet. Maybe we'll see what offseason moves that they do in reality, and I'll probably go over in the future video. But yeah, I mean, that's really about it, guys. I mean, like, just really focus on developing Will Levis, and I feel like Will Levis could turn into that quarterback they were looking for. And yeah, that's it for this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below what you think about what the Tennessee Titans should do. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Any critiques for the videos is always welcome. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.